Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I just want to go over a few things in this video. Settings that you can adjust in your car. Now there's hundreds and hundreds of them. We're not going to go through the whole infotainment center and all the settings, but there's a couple that actually really affect how the car drives. Okay, the settings that actually you feel while you're driving that are important. There's lots of fluff. I'm just going to concentrate on a few of them that are really important on how your car performs and how it feels. All right, I'm in my Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness, brand new, and let me just go through these quickly for you. The first one is this small button, two buttons, right here on the bottom right of your steering wheel, I and S. Subaru calls them intelligent mode and stupid mode. No, Subaru, I call them intelligent and stupid. Subaru calls them intelligent mode and sports mode. Okay? Simply by pressing one of these buttons, your car is in a different mode and will feel differently when you press on the gas. When I select sports mode, it highlights the higher curve, and intelligent mode, the lower curve. The difference is, with the same input on the accelerator, sports mode will follow that higher RPM curve, the top curve. Higher RPM means you're going to have more horsepower and more torque, but you're going to use more fuel. If you put it in intelligent mode, you follow the lower RPM curve. Same input on the accelerator, lower RPMs. The car will still accelerate to the speed you want to go. It'll take longer. Lower RPMs, you have less torque and less horsepower, but you are going to use less fuel. Well, let's look at the thing here. There's a couple of key settings that will affect the way the car drives, and forget that whole thing. The only important button here is this one here, the car. You press that one, and this is one of the most important settings if you're on a trip and you're in cruise control acceleration. Okay, you have different selections there. I have it set on eco. If you're in cruise control, this car has the ability to sense cars in front of you and slow down if you approach a vehicle that's moving slower. Or maybe you apply the brakes and your vehicle slows down because there's people in front of you. You get around those people and then you want to resume. You press resume on your cruise control. If you have it set on eco, you will resume and accelerate to the cruise control setting in the most fuel efficient manner without increasing the RPM very much. Your car will accelerate very slowly in eco mode until it gets back up to the cruise control input that you put in. So if you got cruise control at 110 kilometers an hour and you slow down to 60 for whatever reason, then you press resume. If you're on eco mode, your car will slowly, you'll see the RPMs barely move, and you will slowly accelerate over the course of 9, 10, 15 seconds back to 110. And you can select, they call it comfort, standard, and dynamic. I don't know why they have these names, but basically dynamic is the most aggressive acceleration to get back to cruise control. If you have it set there and you have cruise control at 110 kilometers an hour and you slow down to 60, then you hit resume. If you're in this setting, your RPM will shoot up. You'll immediately go to 4,500 RPM, and you'll hit maximum torque and maximum horsepower in the engine, and the car will accelerate back to your cruise control setting as quickly as possible. Think of this one as sports mode, or a high acceleration mode, standard mode, comfort, where I guess you don't feel as much acceleration, and eco, the most fuel efficient mode. That's a very important setting that a lot of people don't know about that actually affects the way the car drives. If you have it accidentally set in eco mode and you hit resume, you might think, what the hell's going on? My car's not accelerating. Why is it so slow? This is a very important setting, and I think I think when I bought it, it was set on standard as the default. I can't remember, but check this one. The other one I want to mention here is under driving assistance, and it's pre-collision braking. I have it on, and I'm going to turn it off. Okay, I'm turning it off. Why am I turning it off? In a couple of occasions driving this car, one time in cruise control, I was on a two-lane highway one lane going each way. And I was imagine that I'm going forward and my lane is turning to the right. Okay. The other lane is coming around and turning to the left. The other lane had a left-hand turn lane. It's a poorly designed road. The oncoming traffic had a left-hand turn lane that could turn in front of me into a ski area. And there was someone in that left-hand turn lane on a curve where I'm going forward to the right. My car was driving along. I had pre-collision braking on in normal distance. And as I was in cruise control driving in my lane, the way the eyesight and the way the computer lasers look for things in front of you, the car was just normally driving in cruise control. But on this curve, the car sensed the car that was waiting in the left-hand turn lane in the oncoming traffic, and it thought that I would hit that car. So it applied the brakes. And it didn't just apply, a little beep and some braking. I'm just driving along in cruise control at 100, and all of a sudden the car slammed on the brakes. And my car, slamming on the brakes, I slowed down to 60, 50. It was going to stop until I slammed on the accelerator again. There were people following me, all right? I could have caused an accident because my car just decided to slam on the brakes. That's one time that it happened. And it happened another time when I was driving, and this was going a lot slower. It was in a busier area, and someone pulled onto the road in front of me. And I could see that someone was coming out of a parking lot and pulling onto the road in front of me. And I was driving, and the car, I guess, sensed that at my current speed, whatever its calculation was, that it should put on the brakes. And it puts the brakes on aggressively. And I was ready to put on the brakes, but the car decided to put on the brakes before I put on the brakes, and I don't like that, okay? I know the pre-collision braking is a safety feature, but for me, that was just, no. I'm not a bad driver. I know what I'm doing. Hopefully, I will not hit anyone. I never have hit anyone, and I do not want the car applying the brakes for me. The one time it did it on the highway when I was on a sweeping right-hand turn, that freaked me out because it's the first time it happened. I had no idea that it was going to happen. The brakes just got slammed on, and you're getting the seatbelt on you, and your car's going to stop, and there's people following you. You don't have time to go on there and fiddle with the settings, find it, turn it off. I freaked out the first time it went on, so I have turned that off. The other one, and I've just turned the car on now, is this start-stop button. That's what an A with a little arrow around it, that button right there. For some reason, that's the symbol they use. It is always on. When you start the car, it is always on. When you get to a stoplight, when you get to a stop sign, your engine turns off. And it's a fuel-saving button. The reason they have it so that it's always on when you turn on the car is they can do their mileage estimates based on drivers having this on all the time, so they can advertise the car having much better fuel economy because the engine will stop every time you stop. And I guess they when they calculate the average miles per gallon in city driving, they're going to incorporate the engine being off for a certain percentage of the time that you're driving. And every time you get to a stoplight or even stop at a stop sign, the engine turns off. Sometimes even if you just stop for a second or two, the engine goes off. Then the engine goes on, engine goes off, engine goes on. I know they say that the starters are much more efficient now, but if they've built a starter that can last 4 or 5 times longer than a regular starter, and you're city driving, and on a trip your car stops and starts 56 times, I got a feeling that maybe your starter's not going to last as long as they say it'll last. So this thing, every time I get in the car, I just go boop and I turn it off. It's a little less fuel efficient, but what are you going to do? The cool thing is that when you have it on like that, there is a mode on here that tells you, if I toggle, yes, this one here, it says on this tank of gas, my engine has been off for 1 minute and 41 seconds, and I've saved 49 milliliters of fuel. Okay, I've just started driving this thing. In my Subaru Outback Wilderness, I think for the first couple of tanks of gas, I left this thing on. And with 1 tank of gas in the Subaru Outback Wilderness, driving it in the city, I believe my engine, at the end of that tank of gas, the engine had been off for about an hour and a half, and I had saved almost 2 liters of fuel. That's in 1 tank of gas. Anyway, short video today, guys. I just wanted to go. There's so many, look at this. There's so many other ridiculous settings you can go through here. Like, what is even going on here? Anniversary list, birthday list, favorite widgets, software. You know, there's so much stuff there. You can fiddle with it. I'm not interested in any of that stuff. The stuff I showed you are settings that will affect how the car actually drives, performs, and feels. Check out those settings. They make a big difference on how the car feels. You can get in this car, and if you have it set on I mode and eco mode, you'll say this car is gutless. And if you set it on S mode and whatever the other one is, the funny name they have for sports mode on the resume, the car will feel much more responsive and much more powerful. So check those settings. Don't just use the defaults. Fiddle with them. Decide what you like. And for my setup right now, I am completely fuel efficient. I'm on intelligent mode, eco mode, and I'm going to see how many liters per 100 kilometers, how low I can get that number. And maybe I'll do a video on the difference in gas mileage driving a tank on each different kind of mode. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.